And joining me now is California Congressman Ted Lieu, a Democratic member of the House Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committees. Awfully good to welcome you back to the broadcast. So let's get into this here. Will Steve Bannon be held in criminal contempt? And if so, how soon? And is there a way that he could run out the clock? And is there added pressure on the DOJ to act following the president's comments? I know I just threw a lot of questions at you, but have at it.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for those questions. I do believe Steve Bannon will be held in criminal contempt. You cannot simply disobey congressional subpoenas and not be held in contempt. And the January 6th committee is going to vote. I expect them to vote for criminal contempt. But you raise a very good question. I'm going to let you know what my fear is. My fear is he's going to run out the clock. Because even if the Department of Justice engages and prosecutes him, he's just going to litigate this and appeal it to the appellate court and then appeal it to the Supreme Court. You have the case of Don McGahn, where we got him to come in, but that was more than 2 years later. Yeah. So I have legislation that allows the House of Representatives to execute inherent contempt power, where we can levy up to a $100,000 fine on him. And the difference is he'll know that if he loses at the end of the day in court, he'll still be stuck with a $100,000 fine. That flips the burden, and I hope the House passes my legislation to do that.
Looks like Steve Bannon then is taking a page out of the Trump playbook, certainly with these efforts to perhaps run out the clock. But you heard me say that the committee suggests that Kash Patel and Mark Meadows are cooperating, and the quote is "in some way." Do you know what that means, in some way?
It's not exactly clear what it means, but at least they are talking. And so that is a good sign. Where Steve Bannon is completely different. He's simply saying, I am not going to cooperate in any way whatsoever. That's why the January 6th Commission is going to take a vote on holding him in criminal contempt.
Yeah, I think that happens 7:30 p.m. Tuesday night. We'll see what that vote reveals. Former Acting Attorney General Jeff Rosen, who ran the office in the final days of the Trump presidency, he was deposed on Wednesday. Is there any intel on what he provided, or at least expectations of what he might have addressed? Because we know that he battled Trump's efforts to co-opt the DOJ.
He absolutely did. When I was the House impeachment manager in the second impeachment trial, I presented to the Senate, and I talked about Mr. Rosen, and he actually did stand up, and he actually did help hold our democracy together. So I'm sure he had a lot to tell the January 6th committee.
So let's talk about another Trump official from the DOJ, Jeffrey Clark. He's been subpoenaed. Now, he was a Trump loyalist who, according to Rosen, told Rosen that Trump was going to oust him from the top job and replace him with Clark. Why would Donald Trump have wanted to do that?
So Jeffrey Clark is exactly the opposite of Mr. Rosen. He wanted to burn down our democracy. He was going to do everything he could to keep the former president in office, even though Trump lost. And I think Jeffrey Clark has a lot to answer for. I hope that he does cooperate and he tells the January 6th Commission what the commission wants to know.
Okay. Committee Chair Benny Thompson is giving some new insight into how former President Trump could factor into this investigation. Take a listen to what he said.
Are you ruling out or ruling in the possibility of eventually subpoenaing Trump?
Well, I would say this at this point. Well, nobody is off limits to a subpoena from this committee.
So I'm going to ask it to you this way. Is there any way you see this probe ending without a subpoena for Donald Trump?
That's really up to the January 6th Commission. I do note that 57 U.S. senators on bipartisan basis voted to convict Donald Trump in an impeachment trial. Even though we didn't hit 2/3, we still got 57. In any other context, that is not close. And so they thought Donald Trump, under the facts, incited an insurrection. I do think that we need to hear from the president on what he was thinking when he was inciting that insurrection, and why, when the insurrection started happening, he did nothing for hours and hours and let our police officers get brutalized and beat up by the insurrectionists.
Yeah. Looking ahead to Attorney General Merrick Garland, who's set to appear before one of your committees, the House Judiciary Committee. It'll be for the first time on Thursday. Look, with the topics ranging from January 6th to Texas abortion law and the assaults on voting rights, what do you want to ask the Attorney General?
So that is a great question, Alex. A lot also depends on what the people before me ask their Attorney General. So I do have 1,000 questions I would like to ask Merrick Garland, so it will depend on what is asked before it gets to me.
I would suggest, though, those topics are among your consideration, those three that I rattled off?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What about Politico, which is predicting a tense and contentious hearing, especially with Republicans likely to dig in on the hot-button issues, like the ones around vaccine mandates and crime in major cities? Are you preparing for GOP fireworks, something you've certainly seen before?
I'm prepared that radical Republicans are going to continue to be extreme and say dangerous things. For example, I commend the Department of Justice for trying to protect school board members who are threatened and are receiving death threats. My wife happens to be a school board member. She has received death threats. And for Republicans to say that that's no big deal, shame on them.
That's pretty stunning to hear. What is the nature of the death threats that your wife has received?
So the media has actually written about this. It was along the lines of, people who follow orders, like at the Nuremberg trials, get executed. And my wife was following orders. That was sort of the general gist of that threat.
Has that required, between your wife and you're a congressman in these ultra polarized times. Have you had to consider extra protection of any kind?
So I'd rather not discuss the security arrangements.
Totally understand that. Let me ask you, though, about this. And I will say I got a update on my phone that they're making progress in these talks. But in Hollywood, the production workers are preparing to go on strike Monday if they cannot reach agreement on a new IATSE contract. And you joined over 100 other lawmakers supporting the union, advocating for improved wages as well as better working conditions on the movie and television sets. Come Monday, are you expecting a strike? And if that happens, what kind of impact would that have on Hollywood?
I stand with IATSE. I hope there's no strike. There's still time before the deadline, and my understanding is both sides are still negotiating. What we do know is we're in a new, different era with streaming. The work has changed, and if you look at some of their stories coming from IATSE workers, many of them are working 14-hour days. They're getting very little breaks, and we have to improve these working conditions. So hopefully IATSE can resolve this issue with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers before the deadline.
Okay, well, considering you are a congressman from Los Angeles and you have parts of Hollywood, I know this is very important to you, sir. Representative Ted Lieu, thank you so much for your time. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.